I'm gonna stand up for a little. Yeah. 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 Like I was telling you about the bike and all that stuff, I started with a vehicle, so there's three of them. Yeah, there's three guardians outside. For all three, each of them. It's two, where the lab is usually to be 08, 09, and the other. Yeah, I'm like, in public school, I had a like school too, because it's very one block. I'm like, I was there for the hour.
Yeah.
Don't tell me, hey, get out of here. I like that. They didn't want to. And the funny thing too is I haven't on the camera. Kids, yeah, they have right. That's even worse. For the kids, if they have no worries about it, that's dangerous. Driving southbound, I'm like, it's endangered nothing. That's why we create a bylaw. If we can identify who's that road, you already know how people are doing. People have for very tight. I'm like, and some of that too, there's so much mistakes for the parents who fit that in. But they chose, the parents choose the worst spots to do this. That you like, I'm like, unfortunately, yeah. I'm like, there's a pickup zone, they can turn forward, but that's better. So now there's a pickup zone right before it. There's two spots of them. There's actually three, actually.
Yeah, no, that's true.
There's three parking lots on that side of the road. To pick up the kids. After you pass that crosswalk where the kids cross, you have the small one right there, then you have the big one. Active one winter next to the hill. Then you come that too, you have that evil side of the street.
Yeah.
And you have that empty parking right there.
Oh, yeah.
Then you have the bigger pickup zone on the other side. Then you have the ones over here about the church, that big parking lot. Then there's little side streets over there. I'm like, there's multiple.
I will always have my thing. Yeah, we don't let it stop. There's a big truly for the students.
I'm like, there's a lot of designated areas, so for me, I'm like, the time I get off work, do I do open this shit?
Oh, yeah.
And for me, I stand next to the 5 times degrees and cut it. I'm like, I feel like pizza is almost, I mean, especially on Friday morning, a lot of dents and stuff like that start taking over. But I work, and some of that too, the place I work at, I know the majority of them that built that way. Because I work at a teacher class. And I think you probably figured out what
How's it going?
My favorite question. But good mom.
If you're just tuning in, to let you know we're listening to How and Rollins Police do their policing. It's called the Citizens Academy.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we can go on to the like playing chess. You gotta be real strategic about how you do everything. You can try to go get the step line. Yeah, yeah. So And sometimes too, my I yeah, for me, I call me at one level, which is in people. Yeah. I think the autism and all of this stuff are really yes. I was able to I didn't it's just a high school. Yeah, he's my part of marriage is so many issues involved. But it's like just cat what you do. And you can't make mistakes because you make mistakes, somebody's gonna bring it up before and shoot you. We're gonna talk about all this fun stuff.
Thank you, Rick. Okay, so we're forensic specialists. Our pathway is the science behind the crime scene. My name is Geneva, and I started my career with law enforcement in 2013 at the Upland Police Department, where I was hired here in 2018 as a forensic specialist. I have a degree geared towards criminal justice, and I believe it's a little bit more now, but I have over, I'd say maybe 600 now hours of specialized training in crime scene investigation, such as trajectory, blood pattern analysis, photo recognition, chemical latent fingerprint processing, and I am considered an expert in these areas. I have been awarded multiple awards through Redlands Police Department, showing my commitment and my dedication for the job. My name is Ruth, and I started my law enforcement career here in Redlands in 2018. I started off as a community service officer, which is half patrol, half forensic. CSOs help patrol a lot with the smaller reports, doing the smaller burglaries, so that way patrol can go out and handle the bigger stuff. So we really, really appreciate the CSOs. They also do a little bit of forensics. They do fingerprinting, photographs, and that helps us to relieve some of the stress off of us, because if they didn't do that, we would be responding all day, every day. And we are on call almost 24/7. So we appreciate the CSOs. That's where I started. I was promoted to forensic specialist in 2020, so that was the year of COVID, so that was fun. I now have a little more than 400 hours of specialized training in crime scene investigation, gunshot trajectory, blood pattern analysis, latent fingerprint processing, and I am also considered an expert in these areas. I have multiple awards through Redlands Police Department, showing my commitment and dedication to my field. We are the Redlands Police Department Forensic Unit. We are the only two forensic specialists in Redlands, so it's just her and I tackling everything for dream team at the cabin in Fort Redlands. We have processed hundreds, if not thousands, of crime scenes, and our work has directly contributed to solving cases, leading to the arrest and conviction of criminals. We are passionate about forensics. Science plays a powerful and essential role in uncovering the truth during our investigation. So you guys might be thinking, what is a forensic specialist? Really? Forensic specialist is also known as a crime scene investigator. It's a person who carefully collects and preserves the evidence left at a crime scene. They don't chase suspects or interrogate. That's why we got the detectives and the sergeants. We just make the facts come together. Instead, we focus on small details, fingerprints on windows, fibers on a carpet, or the DNA that they left on clothing that can tell a story of what happened. So we look at our evidence, and we like to come into our crime scene with a non-biased, opinion. We like to go in there and have the evidence speak to us and tell us what really happened. So why forensics matters? So evidence is powerful because it doesn't forget and it doesn't lie. In many cases, it's the only voice the victim has. Forensic specialists make sure that story is heard their work holds criminals accountable, but just as importantly, protects the innocent people from being wrongfully convicted. In fact, DNA testing has helped overturn hundreds of false convictions across the United States. So forensics is a huge, huge part in crime scene investigation. We, like my partner said, we go with the detectives and we kind of let the evidence tell us what happened in the scene. We usually do a walkthrough with the detective when we get there. So that way, if they have any kind of perceived notions or they kind of see something that we don't, or vice versa, we see something that they don't, we kind of talk to them. So we have a really good relationship with our detectives, and I think we try to make it as fun as possible. I know it's not a lot of things that we go to are fun, but we are working a lot together, so we try to make it as good as we can while we're working these scenes.
So you guys might be wondering what duties the forensic specialist has. So, photography and scene documentation is key. The guys have guns, I have my camera, and they're lasers. So, again, when a crime scene happens, guys, it's only going to be around for one time because it's going to get cleaned up. You have, nature elements, you have crime scene cleanup. That crime scene is not going to be there forever. So it is our sole duty to document that crime scene as thoroughly as possible. Now, with the advances of Leica, we can now have a digital thumbprint off of our Leica machine, but we also take photographs. I'd rather take 1,000 photographs than not enough photographs. So my camera is my best friend. The next thing we do is we package and preserve items to prevent cross-contamination. So when I'm at a crime scene, guys, depending on really how big my crime scene is, I could be wearing 5 gloves at a time. Because if I'm here and I'm touching something, and then I go to touch something else with a safe glove, I'm cross-contaminating. That's one thing I don't want to do. So I'm constantly peeling off my gloves. Again, if I'm grabbing my camera, I've held my camera 1,000 times. But then if I go to touch, I'm cross-contaminated. So my main thing when Ruth and I are crime scene, we make it a very, very clear point to not cross-contaminate. Because DNA, guys, is so strong now. Again, you guys are new to an environment, you guys are touching things, you're leaving your fingerprints, you're leaving your skin cells, your DNA. So the next thing we do is we go to court a lot. Yay! So if you have a fear of talking in front of people, this wouldn't be your gig. We go to court and testify based off of the findings and the facts. We write detailed reports. So Ruth and I will have to write our reports in a way that paints a picture. So if you're not looking at a photograph, you can read our report and you know exactly what we're saying by envisioning it in your head. The next thing we do is we collect evidence. We cannot do our job if we didn't have evidence. Evidence is key. Evidence really seals the proof. So that's basically no, that's okay. Fingerprints, DNA, weapons, fibers, things like that.
So we have a lot of tools. Like Geneva kind of said earlier, our camera is our most trusted sidekick. We use our camera a lot. So we have to make sure that it's always updated, make sure that the time is correct. So we are constantly using and abusing our camera. We have fingerprint tips, powders, brushes, lifting tapes that we use. We have a magnetic powder that Geneva is holding. We will also be doing a little demonstration kind of in the middle of our PowerPoint, so we'll kind of show you that. We have evidence kits, DNA swabs, envelopes, boxes that we use. We have so much things that we are filling out and labeling and putting in. So it's super, super intensive. And then we also have PPE gear, which is gloves, masks, protective suits. When there is a particularly dirty
Because I can't get into my
scene,
garage.
Geneva and I come out in what I like to call bunny suits. So we have these big old marshmallow suits that we're in, and
Big cup.
yes, and our detectives and officers take every advantage of taking pictures of us right before we go into scenes. There are floating around pictures of us in all of our gear, but that's something that we do to eliminate that cross-contamination, eliminate anything that's being introduced to the crime scene, because we are collecting that evidence and putting it into our system. Fun fact, a dusty footprint can solve a case. So we've had a couple of cases, a big one that we are working right now that we cannot talk too much about, but we were able to link a suspect to actually a shoe print. Shoe prints are very, very unique. They're just as unique as fingerprints. Because the way that you are walking, the way that you are stepping, you all wear your shoes a little different way. I can walk to the left a little bit, Geneva can walk to the right a little bit. So her boots and my boots, we have the same boots. Her boots can be a little different at the bottom of the tread than ours, mine. So we also have rocks that are in our shoes, glass that are in our shoes. So that can also definitely.
I got a big rock right now. But little things like that. So there's a thing called, what Ruth is going off of, there's called characteristics, class characteristics of a shoe, which basically shows what style of a shoe. But then you have something called individualization. That individualizes that shoe to that shoe, and only that shoe, and not any of the other 500,000 word boots up. So, huge.
Yes, very huge.
Okay, so a day in the life of mine and Ruth's life. Typically, a day as a forensic specialist often begins with a morning brief where we will review new cases and prepare for our equipment. When we get called to a crime scene, we carefully document everything, taking photographs, sketching, collecting evidence, such as fingerprints, DNA, or trace materials. Back in our lab, at the annex, we have our own little lab. So, we log the evidence to ensure the chain of custody is maintained so that nothing is compromised. Much of our time is spent writing detailed reports that will later help the detectives, prosecutors, and even jurors to understand what the evidence reveals. Some days we're getting called to testify in court, explaining our findings in a clear and professional way. And no matter how busy in the day we are, we're always learning. Whether through new forensic techniques, updated technology, or ongoing training.
So we have a couple of different types of evidence. We have biological, which is blood, saliva, hair. We have physical, which are weapons, bullets, clothing, trace, which are
I can't get into it.
fragments, oils, gunshot residue. And we also have
It's in my hand.
phones and
I went and got a new
computers.
battery.
Our digital forensics guy usually deals with those. So if we collect phones,
Something's blocking it.
and we're emailing him saying, hey, I collected this.
I might have to come and get your remote.
Only one of him, and he's very backlogged with a lot of stuff, so he is a very, very busy man. Very busy.
Physical evidence.
So I don't know if it's my remote or what.
Establish the who, what, when, where, why, and how during some phase of a criminal investigation. Physical evidence is any object that can establish the crime scene has been committed or examined.
So I'm gonna come and grab the remote from you. All right? But I can't call you because he's on the phone still. I'll honk my horn when I get there. All right? All right?
Humans, animals, and even plants. This includes blood, fibers, semen, hair, tissue, or other bodily fluids. And we come across those more.
Yes.
All of these.
I'll honk my horn when I get there.
So powerful is that it often contains DNA, which can uniquely identify an individual.
All right.
Even a tiny drop of blood or a single tear.
I got to end this now.